Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are live. We are live, or should I say, me are live. Views and views, week 9, trick or treat edition. Trick is just me, but that's all right. And I also missed my alarm this morning. Usually, people oversleep when daylight savings is on the other side, not the night we get an extra hour. Somehow, we got an extra hour, yet I overslept. Don't know how that happens, but nonetheless, we are here, even though we are a little late. We are still trying to wake up. So give it about 30 seconds. Let everybody jump in there in the comment section and whatnot. Let me know if you're here, and then we will get going. I'm going to share the links in the groups. Make sure everybody's awake. But like I said, clearly I wasn't even awake. So um, no Germ So True or MJ today. They got certain commitments. We're gonna leave it at that. We obviously can't tell you everything about us. And then Jahan may or may not be joining me, but in the meantime, in between time, you could probably tell by my voice that I'm still waking up. So just bear with me. I'm gonna share these links and we're gonna get going. Hope everybody had a pleasant Halloween. You know, kind of a quiet Halloween this year for me. Um, but a big part of that was the weather. The weather was just, first of all, if you live in these sides of the world, or if you live somewhere where there's winter, real winter, okay, North Carolina slash Atlanta, well, some places in North Carolina, but 50 degrees in October is not like 50 degrees in December. Those are two totally different 50 degrees. I don't have any scientific data on that, but this is Views and Views. This is my show. We are on Views and Views. I'm giving you my views. 50 degrees in October is not like 50 degrees in December. So it was cold, it was rainy, and it was, we had a little bit in elevation. It was extremely, extremely windy. All right. Excuse me. Y'all gonna have to mind the professionalism today, okay? I'm just being honest with you. I'm here to be honest. It is my job to be honest. Um, Again, I don't know what happened because I woke up thinking I overslept. Eh, Y'all ever had one of those dreams where you wake up and check the time? That's what happened to me. And I was like, oh, it's 7:53. No problem. I'm gonna get up. I got 3 hours before the show. I can breakfast the whole nine. I get up, my feet touch the floor, pick up my phone again. It says 10:54. I'm like, oh, it's showtime. So here we go. Let's get going. A lot of good games on the menu. Um, Maybe some games that are underrated, maybe some games that you're not thinking about, but there's a lot of good ones on the menu. So let's dive right into it. The first one on the clock is the Indianapolis Colts at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, the Steelers coming off a two-game losing streak. They had a very bad loss last week against Green Bay. In my opinion, I thought they should have found a way to win that game, but nothing was worse than the Bengals loss on Thursday night. They come into this game 4-3. The Colts are 7-1. Injury report: Jabril Peppers is not there, so newly traded Kyle Duggar will indeed be active today. No Scotty Miller either. for the Steelers. For the Colts, Samson Abukum is out, but Grover Stewart, Tyquan Lewis, and Jalen Jones all should be good to go. Look, I said this on the show. I, I'm confused about this game because on the one hand, Vegas doesn't think it's going to be a blowout. They got 3.5 points for Pittsburgh, and it just moved to 3.5 because when I did the show Friday, it was only at 3 points, so they just moved it up half a point. So I'm sure the bet swayed one way or another, obviously, but nonetheless, 3.5 points. I feel like they're trying to tell us something in secret. I would have thought the Colts maybe would have higher spread, but it seems like there's still certain people that don't believe in the Colts. Why? I don't know. They have the best offense in the league. They have, by all the analytics, the second best offense in the NFL since 2007. And it's not a simple offense. It's not a quarterback system friendly offense. Not at all. It's a very sophisticated offense. It's very complex. It's detailed, and they have a quarterback executing that offense at a very high level. So I don't know what's left to not believe in the Colts, and I don't want them to go out there today against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh and the Colts end up losing, and everybody starts saying, "Oh, see, I told you." No, because that they're going up against a quality football team led by a quality head coach. And although the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has been incredibly disappointing, just talking to people throughout the week, people who are Steelers fans, people who are football fans, um, the one thing I've said in every single one of those conversations is they miss Minka. They miss the tackling abilities of Minka Fitzpatrick. And that's their number one issue right now. Now, again, I'm not criticizing the Jalen Ramsey trade. You, that was a good trade getting Jalen Ramsey, and you got John Smith in that. But there should have been a much more serious evaluation as to how they're going to replace the tackling abilities of Minka Fitzpatrick. And we'll see. I mean, you got Jonathan Taylor today. He's coming. He's got 850 yards in the season, 12 touchdowns on the season. That leads the league. Coming up against a defense that's given up 32 points or more in the last couple games. They're coming up against a defense that's given up more than 450 yards over the last two games. So yeah, the Steelers defense was struggling. But to me, the biggest part, the biggest issue for them is tackling. That's the number one issue. It's yeah, they got problems covering that they need to adjust. Yeah, there's certain things when it comes to pressure that's not happening. But when a team can come in there and so lazily rack up yards against you, that also has an impact on the defense and how they attack. So they gotta fix their tackling. That's the number one thing. I, I'm going with the Colts. I am picking the Colts. Um, Now you know what? It's my show. No, I'm picking the Colts. Never mind. I'm picking the Colts. I want to pick the Steelers obviously because seeing Mike Tomlin lose three in a row, back to back at home, just not something that happens. But logistically speaking, the Colts are a much better football team right now, and I mean they're the best team in football. So let's go with the Colts. And the Steelers, the number one thing they're going to have to do today is get to the red zone, score in the red zone, and the way they got to get to the red zone is they got to be a lot better on third down than what they were versus Green Bay. Next on the docket, you got the Chicago Bears versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Shout out to my brother Les, my brother Storms. And, we were watching the World Series together, Game 6 and Game 7, and um, you know, it was fun times. Obviously, the World Series, great World Series. We were watching that World Series together, Game 6 and Game 7, and Storms the Bengals fan, Les is a Bears fan, and if you know them, you know that nobody can talk more trash than the two of them individually. So collectively, been hearing a lot of Bear slander over the last 48 hours and been hearing a lot of Bengal slander over the last 48 hours. So I'm going to try and say something positive today about both of these teams, okay? Not because my friends are fans of these teams, but because I have heard so much negativity about the other fan base and trash talking that I would like to bring you a treat, so to say, on this Trickery Sunday. Um, the Bengals. A positive thing that I have to say about the Cincinnati Bengals. They got Jamar Chase. A positive thing that I gotta say about the Chicago Bears. Positive thing to say about the Chicago Bears. Yeah, no, we heard you the first time, Mo. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Da Bears. Mm-mm-mm. Can't think of one. Positive thing to say about Da Bears. Bears? I don't know, man. They've been playing better football this year, for sure. I'll say that. That was hard. I wasn't even trying to troll there, but hey. Anyways, Bears versus Bengals, over under 50 and a half, minus 2.5, 4-3 are the Bears coming into this game. But they might be missing three of their corners, so we will be waiting till 12 o'clock for them to give us an official announcement. The Bengals listed 10 players. 10 players they listed on their injury report, which is not worse than the Titans, believe me. The Titans actually had 17 players listed on their injury report. But nonetheless, for the Bengals, Logan Wilson is out, or he's doubtful. Trey Hendrickson is also doubtful, and Oren Burks is questionable, even though he was limited. But Trey Hendrickson and Logan Wilson did not practice all week, which usually tells you that they won't be playing. We'll see what happens at noon when they officially announce the active roster. But keep that in mind. Trey Hendrickson, Logan Wilson, two of their best defensive players. Obviously, with Trey Hendrickson, their best defensive player. He did not practice. We'll see what happens at 12 o'clock. For the Chicago Bears, DeAndre Swift is out, Roshan Johnson is out, and Luther Burden, the outstanding rookie, even though he hasn't been unbelievably productive, he is outstanding. He's out with a concussion today. But good news is they get Tyreek Stevenson and Cole Kmet. They'll be back today. Um, look, a couple of things to say about this game. For the Bengals, scoring is not a problem under Joe Flacco. That's not a problem. Now, unfortunately, he comes into the questionable with an AC joint, and I don't know if they gave him enough Tylenol and all that to get him through. Um, as I'm sorry, my phone keeps going off because former Bengals wide receiver Bob Trumpy passed away. A lot of y'all might not be familiar with him. I'm not too familiar with him. But it just keeps going off on my phone. So rest in peace to him. Um, Second week in a row we do that. Not good. I don't like that. But we pray for all football players. We play for everybody, really, these days and days. Um, when he comes off an AC joint, we'll see what happens. He was limited in practice. He didn't practice all week, but he did practice some let on Friday. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he plays. He's gonna play more than likely, but how good will he be? How effective will he be? Jamar Chase, it don't matter who's out there. Jamar Chase has 28 receptions over the last two games. So no matter who's out there, you know he's gonna perform. And then for the Bengals, one more thing positive I'll say is they had 160 plus rushing yards against the Jets. That's something they got to build on. They can't just expect Joe Flacco at however many years he is to do what Joe Burrow can do. And hopefully they can learn from certain things they've had to adjust for Flacco, they can learn and adapt that when Joe Burrow comes back. Um, the Bears defense is very up and down. Like they're 30th in yards per carry. They gave up a lot of yards, but they're top of the league in turnover. So they're opportunistic, which is always something that I appreciate um, about a defense. As far as Caleb Williams is concerned, he's better, but he's not great. And my number one issue with Caleb Williams is accuracy. And you cannot be a quarterback you can't teach accuracy. That's something that you just can't teach. You can fix the mechanics and all that, but you can't teach it. And there are a lot of times where he's inaccurate. Now, the one benefit of the doubt that I will give him is a lot of those inaccuracies are on throws where he's got bad mechanics. So let's fix the mechanics and let's see what's going on. But Ben Johnson, so far, has not fixed one thing with Caleb Williams' mechanic. He is still the same player. He's just in a better system, making better decisions. Not like Daniel Jones, who looks completely different from from the neck down. And obviously, right here, we know that. But that's the difference, and that's it's not a concern, but a concern. Like we got to make sure that gets addressed. So we'll see what the Jen Johnson program does for Caleb Williams long term. But so far, I have seen no improvement in terms of mechanics and in terms of accuracy out of Caleb Williams. So we'll see how it happens. Good remedy today. The Cincinnati Bengals have given up at least 39 points in their last three games, I believe. So you got a good remedy today against them. And then the one positive on their offense is their run offense is second in the league in run plays of 10 or more yards. So there's a lot of positive things to take from it, but they still have a long way to go. Um, I think with no Logan Wilson, a doubtful Trey Hendrickson, um, I'm going to lean more towards the Bears winning this game. But this game was not part of any of my actual picks, my or any of my parlays. I'm staying away from this game. You're going to find a theme here that I'm staying away from a lot of these games because they truly are tricks or treats. But I gotta pick somebody. Y'all ain't here to hear me say nothing. So I'm going. Oh, that's right. That's right. Storms. Logan Wilson is the one that's been sort of taking the back end pause with that. Okay, you're right. So Logan Wilson has um, basically lost his job by the rookie to the rookies. But Trey Hendrickson is doubtful. Flacco questionable arm. I'm going Bears, but I don't like it at all. Next on the menu, you got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. Quite simply put, bro, this is my lock of the week. This and the Chargers, obviously, which we'll talk about. But I don't see any way the Vikings keep up with the Lions. I don't see any way the Lions don't roll and roll big. In every single one of their wins this season, the Detroit Lions have won by 8 or more points. The spread is 8.5. I say take it. This defense has been top 12 in most defensive categories, but the number one thing that stuck out to me through research, and I don't have Hembo from ESPN to verify this for me. So if somebody could just let me know. But the Detroit Lions defense leads the league in three and outs. That to me stuck out. That to me stuck out. So um shout out to Tanya and Jeffrey and Tyrell Love. And obviously Cat Five Storms. Tyrell Love, you a champion, baby. Did you realize that you were a champion? Yes, I did. Shout out to the LA Dodgers, baby. Uh Ben Johnson's a positive. I think front office and players are bought in from our brother Jeffrey K. Howman. Hallman. I never asked him. I've talked to this dude. He's been on the show, and I never confirmed how to pronounce his last name. We had an argument one time about it. So Jeff, please, Hallman. Is it Hallman or Hallman? How do you pronounce it? Yeah, Detroit covers, by the way. 8.5, 9. Who cares? Detroit covers. Who scores? All of them. Detroit covers. JJ McCarthy starting. I know all that. I don't care. Justin Jefferson, uh, my brother, you might be this generation's DeAndre Hopkins. Arigato. Shout out to Otani, man. We were talking about this last night. If you dislike Otani, I know this is a football show, okay? But I'm solo today. I can do whatever the hell I want. If you don't like Otani, you should see a therapist. And I mean that. I mean that. I'm not a if then you should person, but I'm gonna go there today, okay, with Otani. Like I understand why people have irrational uh criticism of Brady. I understand why people have irrational criticism of LeBron and of Michael. I get it. I get it. I get it. And of Messi and of Ronaldo and of Scotty Scheffler. I get it. Okay. Shohei Otani is untouchable. Okay. Yeah, go Tani. Boneless Otani. Hey, it's that joke. All right, next on the docket. Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots. 44 and a half points. Five and a half. Five and a half underdogs are the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, man, what can we say? They are a bipolar franchise right now. Okay, they got talent. They've displayed that talent to the fullest on certain occasions, i.e., versus the Buffalo Bills. But they're bipolar. You just don't know what you're going to get from them week to week. And I understand there was no Drake London or Michael Penix last week. I get it. And I get that they had five defensive starters not playing. I get all that. But you were playing the Miami Dolphins. You weren't playing the Bucks. You weren't playing the Rams. You were playing the Miami Dolphins. And I'm sorry to say this, but if you are a franchise that don't have enough depth to compete against the Miami, not win, it's the NFL. But if you are a franchise and you don't have enough depth to compete against the Miami Dolphins, that's concerning. So the Falcons, I have been very nice to you for all year. I believe in you. Rise up. I believe in you. But we have to address certain things before we take that next step. I had you as my dark horse for this year. Next year, I got you as the team that's going to be banging on the door without any subtlety. We got to start working towards that. Now, will it start this week against the 6-2 Drake May led New England Patriots? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My producers are saying we got to say it one more time. Against the 6-2 Drake May captained New England Patriots. Oh, baby. You know, when you got filet mignon, it's sort of hard to go back to hamburger helper. So the only way that I could have enjoyed quarterbacking out of the New England Patriots ever again is if you brought back some prime ribeye, tomahawk, filet mignon, whatever. Okay, that is Mr. Drake. It's gonna be May. Okay, you better put some respect on his name. Now we troll a lot here. We do a lot of heel activity. But I will say this, and if Les is watching, I hope you lose internet service for the next 30 seconds. Drake May, for sure, is the most accurate deep ball quarterback in Patriots history. Yes, I said it. All right. Let's get to the game. 2-game losing streak for the Atlanta Falcons. 5-game win streak for the New England Patriots. Should be a fun one. It's in New England, so it could be another one of those Falcons, I'm going to let you down type of game. No doubt. But again, Michael Penix is back. Drake London is back. You still got Bijan Robinson, who has been struggling the last few weeks. I can't imagine that's going to continue. Like Bijan Robinson is not the type of dude that just stays down. Like he's not going to go through these long season slumps. I don't believe so. I know the offensive line has had some issues, but I still think this is sort of one of those games where we can't forget about Bijan Robinson just because he hasn't been performing the last few weeks. Now, he is going up against one of the best actually run defenses in the league. And I think yards per carry, they're either first or second in yards per carry. So that's a problem for him because if the Falcons can't run the football, then Michael Penix is a completely different quarterback. And that's okay. We got to remember that Michael Penix he still has not started a full season in the National Football League. Like I know this is his second year, but he only started the last 3 games of the season last year. So we gotta slow down on Michael Penix because I wholeheartedly believe in his abilities and his foundation as a quarterback. But if they don't run the football, he becomes an entirely different quarterback. Rhythm, his feet, everything. And obviously, for a quarterback, your rhythm and your feet, if those aren't in sync, nothing else can match up. It's all connected. It's all got to be synchronized. So running the football is extremely important for the Falcons in any situation, in any game. But they're 3-4, so they're not. The season is not over. Far from it, obviously. But this is an important game for them. They got to get on the road here. They got to get on the road and earn one and win one. And it's a tough matchup against a team that's scoring a lot of points, that's keeping teams from scoring. And the Patriots' number one strength right now is the second half play. Like they in the second half, the last couple of weeks is when they've come to life and when they've created separation in all of these games. So on both sides of the ball and on special teams, like Mike Vrabel has his team playing phenomenal football. Everybody is doing their job. Give me the New England Patriots to win. Joe Flacco is indeed active. D. Winters is also active for the 49ers. That's important. Make sure I want to address that before I forget. I forgot to do the injury report for this game. New England Patriots have Ramondre Stevenson out. For the Falcons, Billy Bowman is out another day. Zach Harrison is also out with a knee injury. But Jesse Bates should be going. Jalen Walker should also be back. And Leonard Floyd should also be back as well. All three of those guys are expected to play. Diablo, Walker. Actually, didn't know if Diablo is ready to play. We'll see with Diablo. Keep an eye on that. But Walker, Bates, and Leonard Floyd are all expected to play. Billy Bowman is out again, and Ramondre Stevenson, like I said, for the Patriots. And Devon Diablo is one of the most important pieces of that defense, for sure. Yep, here it is. All right, hold on. I'm gonna read this to you from Ian Rappaport. Uh Falcons Jesse Bates and Jalen Walker are playing. Vikings Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw are playing. That's huge. Mekhi Becton inactive again, as expected. Packers Quay Walker is going as expected, and Brock Purdy is the emergency quarterback as expected. But Jesse Bates and Jalen Walker confirmed will be playing. Um, there we go. All right, next on the docket, you got the Carolina Panthers host or versus the Green Bay Packers. 13 and a half points is the spread in this game. 43 and a half is the over under. For the Panthers, for fantasy purposes, everybody is healthy, and Bryce Young will play. For the Packers, Dontavius Wicks is out. Lucas Van Ness is out again. But as we talked about, Quay Walker is playing. Zach Tom, sorry, the tackle. Um, he's got no injury designation, but he's still got that nagging back. And then Josh Jacobs is still dealing with that calf injury, although he had no injury designation as well, which is a good thing. Um, we talked about it. If you follow me on TikTok, if you follow me on Instagram, this to me is just way too high of a spread. I understand the Panthers lost 40-9 versus the Buffalo Bills. I don't understand that the Panthers have been part of some big blowouts, but 13 and a half points, I think that's a little high. And again, if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on TikTok, you will know why I say that. Not- um, I gotta find it real quick. Just remember what I said. Okay, that's it. Packers are giving up 5.2 yards per carry in Week 8 to the Pittsburgh Steelers team that doesn't have a really good power run defense. And you got the Panthers coming in, and Rico Dowdle, since he's become the starter, is averaging 5.7 yards per carry. So um, 13 and a half, had to make sure that was a spread in case it changed. It looks like it's still 13 and a half. I'm taking the Panthers to cover here. I'm taking the Panthers with the points rather. I just Green Bay has a hard time putting teams away. They're very good. They're probably going to make the Super Bowl. We talked about history and math, right? Big shot. Everybody knows about the Micah Parsons, Charles Woodson, Reggie White, all traded for when the quarterback was 27. We all know that Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre won their first Super Bowl at that same age of 27. Jordan Love turns 27 here this month. But I'm gonna add something to it. The Green Bay Packers have scored 27 points in the last 6 of 7 games. 27 points in the last 6 of 7 games. So talk about 27. 27 points pops up. 6 of 7 is the word of the year. And to make it just a little sweeter, in a full circle moment, Jordan Love threw for 360 yards against Aaron Rodgers. 360, full circle, 27, 6-7. Sound like 11's mother in Stranger Things. Rainbow, sun. I don't remember I don't remember all of it. But if you watch Stranger Things, you know what I'm talking about. Um, Nonetheless, keep it nice and short. Packers will win. Josh Jacobs touchdown. Josh Jacobs 50 plus yards. Panthers covered or Panthers with the points 13 and a half. It's just a little too hot for my liking. Next game, Denver versus Houston. Quick injury report. Pat Surtain is out. Marvin Mims is out with a concussion. Dre Greenlaw is back from a one-game suspension. Man came back for one game, got suspended. But that's a huge boost to it, an already great defense. But without Pat Surtain, he comes back just in time. Yes, I know they play different positions. Okay, I am aware. He is a linebacker. Surtain is a cornerback. I am fully aware. But talent on the football field matters. And when you bring back a guy like Dre Greenlaw, you can focus less things in one area and focus on more things in another area with Pat Surtain out. And Riley Moss is playing exceptional football as well as the rest of this secondary. Yeah, Pat Surtain is the leader, no doubt about it. But I think they can find a way to stay the course until he's back within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And best news of it all is he'll be available down the stretch for him. So um, over under on this game is 40.5 points. Spread is only 1.5. It might have jumped to 2.5 actually. If somebody could correct me on that. The Broncos are on a 5 game win streak as well. Bo Nix has thrown for 240 plus yards in those games, but he's going up against a defense that's first in points per game, third in third down, first in passer rating, third in yards per attempt, second in completion percentage, fifth in pass touchdowns, first in pass touchdowns, I mean, and then fifth in rushing. So you got a defense that's top three in all major categories, and then they're like, "Oh, we'll be top five in rushing yards per carry, just for the hell of it." I don't even think that matters. So, um, I think the ultimate. So okay, let's stick with the Texas defense. They are very good at being multiple. Like I think the analytics will tell you that they play a lot of zone, and they do. But it's not only match, it's not only that they pattern match, they communicate it so well. They communicate it so well. So that's really one of their biggest strengths is they're gonna be in your face, but they communicate extremely well. And if you look at any all-time great defenses, communication was a super strength. So that's important. The Broncos, the Broncos super strength is they're gonna hit your quarterback. They are going to hit your quarterback. Don't matter what he's doing, the minute he walks into the building, they are finding ways to hit him. And that's what makes him so effective. And shout out to Vance Joseph, who's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. Phenomenal. Been a defensive coordinator for a long time in this league. He's phenomenal. Ultimately, for me, I'm picking the Broncos. Even though this is a huge trick or treat game. Matter of fact, the favorites are the home team Texans, only about 1.5 points. Um, but I'm taking the Broncos, and I'm taking the Broncos because the ultimate difference in this game, these teams match up so well. The ultimate difference is the Broncos defensive line versus the Texans offensive line. That to me is the ultimate advantage in this game. And I think that's gonna be the difference. I think they're gonna get after CJ Stroud. They're gonna disrupt the timing, disrupt the routes, disrupt the throws, and I think it's gonna be enough. I think it's gonna be enough. So over under is 40 and a half. My advice is stay away from it. But hey, you gotta go gamble, right? We gotta win money somehow. So um I would take the over though. I am actually because it's that's only 20 points. So I think both of these offenses will find a way to score 17 plus, and then from there, one or two scores, and you got the over. So I would take the over 40 and a half. I understand they're great defenses, but I think 40 and a half with some of the explosive nature of both of these offenses when available, I'm gonna go over. Just trick or treat, go over. Me personally. All right. Next on the docket. San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Giants as my injury report got all discombobulated. Um, over under is 48 and a half, minus 2.5. Favorites are the San Francisco 49ers. They come into this game 5-3. New York Giants are 2-6. Obviously, there's major injuries on both sides for both of these football teams. Um, New York Giants have scored, sorry, the San Francisco 49ers have scored less than 21 points in 3 straight games. But you got the Giants defense that's given up 33 plus in back-to-back games, despite Brian Burns leading the league in sacks. Um, Devin Lloyd is out, so that might change my Brock Purdy parlay situation. Keep that in mind. But um, despite Brian Burns leading the league in sacks, this defense still has certain problems. And I'm going to do a little film study on them. I actually did the film study, but I got to put the tape together. There's certain things that they do that it just doesn't make sense. Not that it doesn't make sense. It's just like if they could do little tweaks here and there, it'll be a lot more effective. So I'm very curious to see if they make those adjustments. For example, sometimes they'll overload the one side of the offensive line, but then they'll have Brian Burns and the rookie Abdul Carter on the other side by themselves. So you'll have the nose guard, shade in the center to the outside, and then you got a defensive, another defensive end, another outside linebacker, and then you got Burns and Carter on the guard and the tackle. And more times than not, they'll have Abdul Carter over the guard, which is fine. But Abdul Carter, as a rookie, is not big enough or strong enough yet to go one on one heads up against a guard. He's quick enough, but I don't think he's big enough or strong enough yet. So, something that I would like to see, and I know this is a very technical thing, something I would like to see when they line up this way, they got five guys on the line of scrimmage, three on one side, two on the other side, overload look, even though they're only gonna rush 4 to 5. If Abdul Carter can sort of delay a stunt to the inside, like you have big Dexter Lawrence crash down, and then you have Abdul Carter on a sort of delayed stunt, I think that's something that can be so effective because you're utilizing his number one strength right now, which is his speed, and you're getting him a free run into the quarterback. So that's something I would like to see. Another thing that I would like to see less of in this case is Brian Burns dropping back into coverage. Like I get all the different things that they do, and they give you a lot to communicate from an offensive line perspective. I get all that. But sometimes doing too much is not a good thing. I've been told that once or twice. Sometimes doing too much costs you more. And a lot of times, simplicity is king. Simplicity is effective. So let's see if they can make those certain adjustments. Long story short, I know I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy is out for this one. I understand that. They also got Bryce Huff and Yatir Gross Matos. He's out. As well as many men. Ricky Pearsall is still out. Jake Brendel, the center, is out. But D Winters is active, which is huge. For the Giants, Paulson Adebo, their best corner, he's out. Chauncey Galston is out once again with a neck injury, sorry. And then Javon Holland, he's questionable with a knee injury as well. Long story short, I think the 49ers bounce back. I think this Giants defense is very vulnerable in the horizontal passing game, and I think Kyle Shanahan will have something cooked up nice. All right, we're gonna finish the rest of this quick. I didn't realize it's already 11:52. Um, Chargers at Titans make it really simple, man. This is my lock of the week. Chargers win. Chargers cover. Um, as far as the injury report is concerned, Hassan Haskins is out. Tony Jefferson is out. And Mekhi Becton, as we said, is out. For the Titans, Xavier Woods is out. Jeffrey Simmons is out. Arden Key is out. And more importantly, Calvin Ridley is out. And we will just keep in mind, keep an eye on to see how much of that is injury related, not or trade related, rather. So, nonetheless, lock of the week, Chargers win, Chargers cover. You got an offense that can score going up against a defense that have allowed the 29th most points per game in the National League, and an offense that is 32nd in points per game finished in the league. That's just a bad recipe for him against this team. Lock of the week, Chargers cover. So my two locks of the week are the Chargers cover and the Lions cover. Next, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Over under is 44 and a half. -3 is the spread. The Raiders, 4-3 for the Jaguars, 2-5 for the Raiders. Look, this game also gave me trouble to pick, believe it or not. Okay. Jaguars have lost the last two. Raiders have lost the last 5 or 6. Devin Lloyd, he's out, leads the league in interceptions. Raiders, shut out by Kansas City Chiefs. Raiders, 31st in points per game, 32nd in the red zone. Jaguars, 27th in that category. Brock Bowers is back, and Jacoby Myers is back. Fun little fact for y'all, especially for the Trevor Lawrence apologists. The Jaguars this season are 0-3 when Trevor Lawrence throws for 250 plus yards. The Jacksonville Jaguars, however, are 4-0 when Trevor Lawrence throws for less than 225 yards. So that means every single one of their losses, he threw for over 250. And every single one of their wins, he's thrown for less than 225. Yes, the run game is important for Sunshine. Ain't no horizon without play action from Mr. Sunshine. Bars. Yeah. Run the ball, take care of the ball. That's who wins this game. Whoever can run the ball better, whoever can take care of the football better, that's who win this game. Believe it or not, believe it or not, I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders to win. Don't ask me why, okay? It's my show. I'm here by myself. I'm getting lonely. I'm getting parched. Give me the Raiders. You know why? You know why? You know why? Because realistically, 'cause I know I sound very undecided right now, okay? But realistically, I wouldn't trust either of these quarterbacks to drive me around in a horse buggy. All right. I don't know who to pick, but I'm going with Geno Smith. Now, I'm going with the Raiders. Give me Brock Bowers and Mad Max Crosby and those guys. Not Geno. Geno got some problems right now. I can't do it. I'm too parched to whisper. And I got a big voice. I do not have an inside voice. So my inside voice is, I don't even know. I don't have an inside voice. So Saints at the Rams. Tyler Shuck is playing plus 14 and a half. Look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Rams because I think the Rams are the second best team in football. But this just feels a little too high with what's going on. A new quarterback that has a huge unknown variable. Um, the, the points per game allowed versus finished differential is literally the same, and it's no more than 11 points. I think the Rams are going to come into this game and just sort of stay the course. I'm sticking with my pick. I'm going with the Saints plus the points. The Rams will win. They'll probably win by 13. They'll probably win by 14. I just think that I think somehow, some way, because of the points per game finished and the points per game allowed, um, that they'll find a way. They'll find a way to keep this game less than two possessions or less. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that the Saints are not going to lose by 3 possessions. That's all I'm saying. All right. Next, you got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills, game of the year. Um, if you look at the rivalry in this one, the Chiefs have outscored the Bills by only 1 point in 9 games. Pat Mahomes is 4-0 in the playoffs, but he's 1-4 in the regular season in this matchup. Don't know what it means. Yeah, Storms. Don't know what it means, but what I do know that Both of these teams had a very different October. Whereas Buffalo lost their footing, Kansas City gained traction. And they come into this game, do the Kansas City Chiefs rolling. I mean, rolling. Pat Mahomes has 3+ touchdowns and 100+ passer rating in the last 3 games. Rasheed Rice has changed life for this offense. He's got 16 receptions in the 2 games that he started. Defensively, Buffalo is ninth in points per game, 10th in the red zone. Kansas City is second in points per game. Now, the vulnerability for both of these teams is in run defense, 100%. And the Bills, I don't think Ed Oliver is playing. I haven't seen him rule them out officially, but I don't think Ed Oliver is playing. Matter of fact, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna look it up real quick. It is 12 o'clock, so we should know by now. Mm. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he tore his biceps. That's right. Oh my God. So no Ed Oliver. Milano and the other linebacker have been injured. Daquan Jones is out. Shaq Thompson is out. Joshua Palmer is out. But without Ed Oliver, this run defense is poor, extremely poor. They've been poor all year because they haven't been healthy. But now you got Ed Oliver out. That's a problem. And for the Chiefs, when I say their run defense is their weakness, I say that with like treading very lightly because it's still a pretty very good defense. So the run game in this matchup of quarterbacks is super important for the overall game script for the 60 minutes of it. But like I said, the Chiefs are rolling and they're thriving. And the Bills, okay, they beat the Panthers, but who are we really? What are we going to do here? And I do believe Sean McDermott is not the dude for this team. I really believe that. He's done a great job. But you need somebody to get him over that hump. And I have had my doubts for years as to whether he's the person or not. So we'll see how it plays out today. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win a game in the regular season versus the Buffalo Bills. Just what I believe. I think they're going to run the ball well. Even they don't have Pacheco, they do got Brashard Smith and Kareem Hunt. I think they'll run the ball just fine. I think Rasheed Rice and Worthy will get some good yak. I think Travis Kelsey will find some open space. And I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this football game. I'll say 27-24 Kansas City. It'd be a good game. I fully expect it to be a good game. But that's where I'm going with it. And then tonight you got the Seahawks and the Commanders. Um, Commanders are going backwards right now. And so of course leave it to tonight to be the perfect time for them to come to life. But um their defense I don't trust at all right now. They look out of place. They don't look fast enough. They don't look anything like they looked last year. And you got Sam Darnold coming into town, who is the best play action passer in the National Football League. I'm taking Jackson Smith and Jigba for 100+ receiving yards. And I'm going with the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game. Julian Love was expected to play, but I don't know what happened. They put him on IR all of a sudden. So that's a problem. But nonetheless, they get some other guys back on defense. Terry McLaurin is out for the Commanders. So that's a problem. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Germ's cousin, he's sort of been struggling the last couple of weeks. Um, so I think this is I think on paper it's a bad matchup. Now, of course, leave it for tonight for Jaden Daniels, who I love, who's exceptional, who's a star in this league, rightfully so. Um, leave it for tonight. And that's what great quarterbacks do. Like when you have a great quarterback, and I believe he is a great quarterback in the making, it doesn't matter what's against you. It doesn't matter who's out there with you. Primetime game, you can find a way to win. So I fully expect that to be a good game. But I think the Seahawks defense plus their explosive abilities in the passing game lead to a win for the Seattle Seahawks. So I appreciate y'all joining. I didn't mind going solo, but I do miss my brothers. If I would have woke up earlier, I think I'd had an easier time going solo. But I don't know if I didn't put my alarm. I don't know. I haven't checked to see what, but I'm gonna go have me some breakfast. Y'all enjoy the games, views and dues. Two